All right, welcome to week 13 of our NFL League Pick'em Thingamabob show. My name is Chris, and joined with me is my friend Jason.
Hey Chrissy, good to be back here with you in week 13 thingamabob. Um, yeah, got to actually watch the games this week, unlike week 12. Some fun ones, some surprise results, and looking forward to talking with you about it.
Yes, and now to recap, I went 7-6 last week. There was only 13 games last week, and Jason went 9-4, and that brings our total up for me 121-58. And then Jason is at 117-62. And now my lead is down back to 4 once again. All
Okay,
right.
good to hear I won last week. I thought we had gone 3-3, but I guess we'll figure that at the end.
What do you mean 3-3?
Well, you got Philly, you got Buffalo, and you got New Orleans, right?
I'm not sure what you're talking about, but let's go into Buffalo didn't even play this week.
Oh my bad. I was looking at the week before and then thinking of the results from this week. All right, that's because I'm so much better than you are. Let's go.
All right, first up on the Thursday night game, we have the Steelers in the shocking upset loss against the Browns. I did watch this entire game, and it was awesome for one reason, because there was a blizzard going on during this game.
Oh my God, yeah, watching that, I don't know if it was just the blizzard conditions or the Amazon cast or both, but it really looked at times like they would whenever they did a long view, it looked like you were looking like through like transparent ghosts playing football.
Yeah, it was super fun. I
Yeah, it
wish.
was one of the wildest things I've seen. Cool game. Yeah, nice win by Cleveland in that one.
Yep, and then needless
Uh,
to say, even though Jameis Winston played decent, he did not have the stellar performance that my prop bet was trying to predict. No,
yep, that's
I,
definitely wasn't 303, but yeah, this was a really bad loss for Pittsburgh. I mean, this could be the difference between a home game and maybe a 7 seed even, depending on how things shake out in the division, in the conference. I mean.
yeah, maybe like, yeah, I mean 1 through 4 or the fifth seed. Them getting the seventh seed seems extremely unlikely.
I mean, there's definitely some other good competitors in the AFC right now.
All right, next up, in an equally embarrassing game, the Chiefs just barely on the absolute last couple plays of the games survive the worst team in the league, the Panthers, 30-27, and boy, would this have been sweet if the Panthers won.
God, I can't say the Panthers are the worst team in the league anymore. Like they're really playing competitively in a lot of these games. This is a loss to one of the best teams in the league. They put up I think 27 points, and wasn't garbage time points either. Pretty impressive by the Panthers. Pretty flat-footed by the Chiefs. I certainly can't say they're the best team in the league anymore. They're not.
Yep.
But they're putting up the wins when they matter. I mean, look at Kansas City. Look at Mahomes on that last drive. Vintage. Kelsey. Travis Kelsey. He hasn't been the fantasy star he used to be. He's still doing what counts.
Yep, only a last second scramble from Mahomes kept this into going to overtime, and then God only knows.
Yeah, I mean they've won like 4 or 5 games like that this season. They would be if they weren't such a clutch team. 6-6 right now. 6-5.
Yeah,
Five
I
and six.
think they
I
could
don't know.
easily have 4 or 5 more losses.
Yeah, they could be a 500 team if they weren't clutch. But the thing is, they're clutch.
And then next up, we have an equally close game between the Vikings and the spiraling Bears, who have now lost 5 in a row after starting 4-2. Pretty depressing.
Yeah, Bears have really competed in a lot of these games too, but kind of the opposite of the Chiefs. They just don't tend to find a way to get it done.
Yeah.
Minnesota barely avoided, continuing their slide. Um, I don't think there's really a lot to hope for in Minnesota right now. I mean, maybe they'll get back into their swing, but they were probably never as good of a team as their record was showing earlier. What do you think?
I mean, nine wins is a lot to be bullshit. So,
Hmm.
I mean, I don't think Sam Darnold is like the real deal. That's for sure. I haven't like I don't have like their schedule memorized, so I can't really speak to how a lot of those games. But I remember a few of the early ones they beat some of good teams. So I don't think it's all just bullshit. I mean, they do have a really good defense.
They started like 11, 12, and 0 last year, didn't they? And then they went on a terrible slide.
No, I think it was like 6 or 7 because then Kirk was out for the rest of the year.
Oh, is that it? I thought that they were like undefeated into the first like 2/3 of the season.
Maybe it was
There was
7 or 8.
season like that. What?
No, that was last season. It might have been seven
All
or
right.
eight. No, it
Okay.
wasn't. It
I
wasn't
thought they
10,
went
11,
further, but
12.
either way, yeah, they started really hot and then they really slid near the end. The Eagles did that too.
Then next up,
Um,
we've got definitely the upset of the week: the Titans
uh,
beating the Texans at home in a lot of big scoring game here. I didn't watch this one because I just didn't get it because the Texans are in the AFC. But this is definitely an embarrassment for the Texans, who probably see themselves as playoff bound no matter what.
yeah, a lot of bad teams either won or almost won this week. This was heartbreaking for me because this knocked me out of a survivor pool that was starting to dwindle down. Um, I almost took the Steelers over the Browns, so it was almost like Final Destination. I didn't bite on that, and then the one I ended up going for was the even bigger upset with the Titans over the Texans. The Texans had a chance to tie this up 30-30 very, very late in the fourth quarter. And Fairbairn missed a 28-yard field goal. I didn't see it happen, but he did. And then the last 2 points the Titans scored were a safety. So a field goal could have, probably sent this into overtime. Who knows what would have happened there? But this was just a really ugly loss for the Texans. And I don't even want to say that their defense played that badly. Most of their points were either defensive touchdowns or short fields off of the defense. So the Texans' offense really was faltering. I think even more than the defense was. This was just a bad game for them.
Yep, I've had a lot of bad games recently.
Yeah, seemed like Collins still did some good stuff, but he was kind of the only point a lot.
Next up, we've got the Lions in a demolition over the Colts, who now have won like 9 games in a row. Pretty impressive.
The Lions have, yeah, they're great. I think last week, if in fact, I remember looking through the betting sheet. The over/under on this game was 50 points, which is just absurdly high in today's NFL. And so, yeah, for it to only be 30 points, I think if you had told me at the beginning of last week the Lions Colts game is going to be a crush-a-nation, I would tell you I would probably guess the score would be like 47-21. Something like that. So, nice to see the Lions get a dominant win in a defensive game. They're one of the more complete teams right now, honestly.
The Lions, I think they're
Yeah,
the most complete team right now.
I think they definitely have the best offense. I I would still say the Bills are probably more complete.
Nah,
Maybe the Ravens, but that the Lions really, really good, right? Just because they're not the most complete doesn't mean I might not take them over any other team right now.
I think the Bills might
Because
have a
their offense
better.
is just that good.
Yeah, I think the Bills might have a better defense, but I think the Lions'
Uh,
offense is just way, way, way better.
yeah, I mean the Lions have the best offense in the league right now. The Ravens and the Bills might be the only teams that even come close. The Lions look great, and oh man, one of my friends was saying he was rewatching, I think, a 2006 game where the Dolphins just absolutely whooped the Lions, and he said, "Guess who the only player to get a touchdown in that game was?" And I didn't know.
2006?
What?
2006?
Yeah,
Is Calvin Johnson playing then?
I think Calvin Johnson wasn't for a few more
It's
years.
too early for Matthew Stafford.
Definitely wasn't the height of Megatron.
I don't think Barry Sanders played that late.
It was a tight end.
No, I definitely don't know.
All right. Well, it was the guy who came in before Winton, I think.
Nope, don't know.
All right. It was Dan Campbell.
Oh, the head coach?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. That was so cool too. It's just like his legend grows and grows. Um, yeah, just what a Chad. I absolutely love the way he calls games. I think it was idiotic for anyone to criticize him last year for being too aggressive. He is the reason that he's not the only reason, obviously. Like the whole team is amazing, but he is a big part of the reason that they are where they are. That they got to the championship game last year after being a really crappy team 2 or 3 years ago. When he started coaching.
They're
It's just so awesome to watch what they've done in Detroit. Like, it's got to be the feel good story of the NFL.
they were a crappy team at the beginning of last season. It was like halfway through the season they went on like a 8 or 9 game winning streak or something.
I think you're thinking of 2022 when they were really crappy at the beginning and then went on a big winning streak.
Oh, maybe.
Last year they were just very, very good. Yeah, I think they got better. I think they caught fire as the year went on, but I don't think their start was as bad as 22, where they started like 1-4, 1-5. Um, yeah, just what they've done there is incredible.
All
I love
right, that's enough.
Okay, enough of my gushing. Sorry.
Speaking about terrible teams that won this week, tell us about the Miami Miracle.
They were really good. What can I say? They were up 31-0 at one point in this game, and probably the most interesting thing that happened in this game, besides just the fact that Tua would throw the ball in 1 second, a receiver in motion would get open, and they would just zoom by everyone because the play design was so good. Probably the most interesting thing that happened was when it was 31-15 after the Patriots scored 2 quick touchdowns. Tua, who had been just pulled to rest after they got up 31-0, was put back into the game to finish, just to make sure that the Patriots didn't get the ball back again. Because as soon as they brought in, I forget who replaced him. Was it Huntley? Whoever replaced him, lost the ball on a handoff, which was his fault down the running backs. They're like, no, we can only do this with Tua. They put him back in. They risked the injury. Everything went okay. Dolphins looked really, really good against the mediocre Patriots.
1 game under 500 now.
I still think they are in 8th place right now in the AFC. Maybe a game and change back. Maybe a game or a game and a half or a game and a tiebreaker. I just think that with a fairly tough end of the season schedule, and just the fact that they cannot win the division because of the Bills, and the fact that there's a lot of competition in the AFC, they would really need one of the teams in 5th, 6th, 7th to completely fall out. I don't see that happening, but the Dolphins are good enough to make it happen if they get lucky.
So what do you think? 11-6, sneak into the playoffs?
I think 9-8, and enjoy another 8th place in the AFC.
All right. That playoff win will still elude them.
Yeah. Look, we might have a new president before we get a playoff win.
All right. Next up, we have the utterly predictable destruction of the Giants by the Buccaneers. And who picked the Giants to win this game?
Some idiot.
Some idiot is right. That was such a crazy ass call by you, man.
Yeah, it was. Look, I admire the boldness of my pick there, and I definitely don't admire the result.
Okay.
Darius Slayton. Maybe the hero we deserve, but definitely not the hero we needed.
They were generous to let him get those 7 points.
Yeah. Tampa Bay finally played a good game after that terrible game of injuries.
All right. Next up, we've got the Cowboys in the shocking upset of the Redskins, snapping their 5-game losing streak. And this one was probably actually the most entertaining game of the week, not just because I'm a Cowboys fan, just because the fourth quarter was so silly. Or the whole second half actually was just crazy.
Okay, yeah, you've heard me talking a lot about the games thus far. You will not hear me talking as much about games past this because I did watch a lot of the Cowboys Commanders game, and it broke me. It just completely broke me. Watching two teams try so hard to make sure that the other team won. It
Yeah.
was what a clown town shit show this game was. It was entertaining, all right, but it just broke me. It was like I was done with football for the day after that. I just couldn't.
Yep, it was only 3-3 at the start of the second half, and then they'd go on
Yeah.
to score 46 points together in the second half in true
Oh yeah,
Cowboys
almost
fashion.
all those in the fourth quarter as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, this game had. I'm trying to remember what the stat was. I believe it was two missed extra points, two kickoff return touchdowns, and a blocked kick.
Yeah.
Making it the first game in NFL history to have all three of those things.
Yeah, and the
It
Commanders like
was,
fumbled it like 3 times or something too.
oh my God, yeah, yeah. It was neither team wanted to win this game. They were trying so hard to make sure that they lost. Right at the end of the game, you had that like amazing, like just blow of any type of defense by Dallas with 25 seconds left. You had freaking Jaden Daniels throw another like 85-yard pass to Scary Terry. Then they missed the extra point, which would have tied it up. They had to kick the onside kick. The guy from the Cowboys recovers it, and instead of just dropping, he goes in for the touchdown. Then they're ahead 8, so the Commanders can try another Hail Mary. It was just, oh my God, this game broke me.
Yeah.
This game was just so badly coached, so badly executed, so hilariously just like desultory.
Yeah,
I,
this one
I
kind of felt like a Cowboys win from last season.
This wasn't a Cowboys win. This was a Commanders loss, sir.
Yeah, but the Commanders made a ton of mistakes too.
Yeah, that's why I say it was a Commanders loss and not a Cowboys win.
I don't know. Old Cooper Rush did okay. Made 43 fantasy points. Pretty good.
Yeah, good for him, man. Do you know how many of those he got in the second half?
Probably
Was it
most of it.
43?
Yeah, most of it I wager. Through 3 points, yeah. Missed two
Yeah.
field goals in the first half.
I couldn't listen to another second of football after this. I just watched it all on mute.
Well, that's boring.
Yeah, but like I just my mind was so broken. This is a game they should just replay over and over to Guantanamo inmates.
Oh, it's way too good for them.
And their minds will be so broken they'll just blab everything. It won't even be that they're tortured so much as they're just so confused.
Alright, it's enough dwelling on that. Next up, we've got the Broncos beating the Raiders. This was close early on and then really got away from the Raiders in the second half. Like, really got away from them.
Yeah, that's happened to the Raiders a few times this season. It's just a team that really doesn't seem to have a lot of mental fortitude right now. I'm still gonna say John Gruden broke the franchise. Next,
Then in our second, what do we call these?
contested picks.
Contested picks, that's it. Yep. Had I known that Brock Purdy wasn't going to play this game, of course I would have picked the Packers, but what are you going to do? Yep.
Yeah, I don't think either of us expected it to be this much of a blowout.
I don't think it would have been anywhere near this much blowout if Brock Purdy was playing. I think they would have thrown a lot better. That's for sure.
Right, but I don't think they were going to stop Green Bay from putting up 38 either way.
Maybe, maybe not. You never know. I agree.
Yep.
I knew going into it that the Packers were the favorite, even if Brock was going to play. But
Yeah, but you thought it would be close, and honestly, I thought it might be close. 49ers are a better team than they came out showing this game, especially with CMC back. This was embarrassing. Green Bay, on the other hand, it's like, we talk about some of the teams that look, more consistently dynamic, particularly on all sides of the ball. Green Bay, their offense really is good enough. I'm surprised I'm saying this, to carry them to a possible Super Bowl. They are a real Super Bowl contender at this point. I
yeah,
wouldn't pick them to be in the Super Bowl, but like, I can't dismiss them anymore.
yeah, Bills, Lions, my guy.
Well, the Bills are in the AFC.
Yeah, and the
Yeah,
Lions
so
are
they're
in
not
the
stopping
NFC.
Green Bay from going to the Super Bowl.
That's what I was saying. Who's going to meet in the Super Bowl? Bills, Lions.
Oh, you think the Super Bowl will be Bills Lions?
Mm-hmm. That'd be so cool.
Everybody always thinks it's gonna be the Bills every year, and then it's never the Bills.
Wow. They're better than the Cowboys when everyone says, "Oh, this is the year for the Cowboys," which is every year.
That's definitely true. And let's not even give mention to the people. This is the year for the Jets. Please, it's never the year for the Jets. Yeah, I would not like, if you put a gun to my head, please don't do that. And said pick one NFC team to make the Super Bowl. I'm not picking the Packers, but I'm saying like there's a very real chance it could be them.
Right now, I'd say it's the Lions or the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean the Lions are definitely the best team in the NFC. But it's not like they really have, I think, the poise yet to feel confident once they make it that far. We'll see. I mean, I hope they do. What an awesome story that would be. Let's move on.
Next up, we've got the Cardinals in a very lackluster game against the Seahawks, which somehow just managed to shut them down and put the Cardinals' 4-game winning streak to an end. And now, I don't remember which division this is, NFC something or other,
This
but
is the NFC West. It's
NFC
the Rams
West.
and the 49ers, the other two teams there.
I know what teams were, I just don't know the names of
Uh-huh.
all the divisions.
Okay,
So now
fair
this whole
enough.
division is back between one win a game between all the teams again, basically.
Yeah, yeah. This is what the NFC East looked like in the past, where you had four mediocre teams all jockeying for position.
Nah, man, one
I
would
didn't see
always be
any of
better.
this game. Were the House of Cards just completely flat on offense, or was it a weird game script, or did you not see any of it either?
No one sees Cardinal games, man. Come on.
Yeah, yeah. Wasn't playing my market, and honestly, didn't look like a game that was worth going back to on replay either.
Gotta live like in the Mojave Desert to get their games or something.
All right. Eagles Rams. This was an interesting one.
Yeah, this was not a close game in any stretch of the imagination. I feel like a lot of these Ram points I think are like in garbage time, and this
No, the
was
Rams did actually play pretty well in the first, like, maybe like third of the game. And then the Eagles in the second third pulled way ahead. And then, yeah, the rest of the Rams points were at the end. But the Rams did look good for a little while.
a very little while, like the first 10 minutes, yeah. And then
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley just took over this game like you wouldn't believe. 300 scrimmage yards, that could have been a prop bet. That was pretty crazy, man. He made 45 fantasy points. And
There was
Jalen
a
Hurts only made like 29 or something.
there was a funny overdub that someone showed me of like the Sean McVay press conference after the game. Uh, he was just saying, this was obviously, dubbed, but a lot of very funny things. One of my favorites was you look at the stat sheet. That wasn't stats from a game. That was a Stephen King horror novel right there. Yeah, Saquon absolutely owned the LA Rams, who had been playing very well recently.
Okay, this guy's
Uh,
on like the Sean McVay hate Reddit over here or something.
no, no, no. It was just it. I don't think that the video was saying anything bad about Sean McVay. It was just overdubbing Sean McVay to say basically Saquon Barkley, shoved a pineapple up our rectums. Which is really like kind of how you would, if you were being very honest, just break down the the strategy from this game.
Yep. And then our last one on Monday night, which was our third and final contested pick, the Ravens in a fairly close game against the Chargers, but the Chargers just couldn't keep the offense rolling after J.K. Dobbins went down. Otherwise, this could have been maybe a different result.
Yeah, Dobbins went down fairly late in the game, right?
No, it was like end of the first quarter, sometime early in the second quarter. He went down pretty
Oh,
early.
okay. I'm either thinking of someone else or they just kept updating it. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely a game that, and this was the cool Harbaugh matchup. The two very successful brothers that coach the respective
Yeah,
teams
they never brought that
going
up.
against one another. Always have fun quips, right? Like, he's like, I love my brother so much. I would die for my brother, but I would not let him win a football game.
I'm surprised they didn't bring that up.
Is I think what Sean said. Surprised they didn't bring out what?
That both the brothers were playing.
Ah, yeah. This was a game that felt very close for a lot of it. Baltimore kind of like in the second half of the game really started to pull away with the momentum, and even when the Chargers scored, Baltimore always had the answer. Baltimore went for first downs on fourth and short 3 different times and succeeded on all three. The first one, the announcers and all the people interviewing Harbaugh and everyone was like, "Oh, what a gutsy call! That was really kind of dumb, but gutsy to go for it because it was around the 2 minute warning in the first half. He went for it on 4th and 1 on his own 17-ish, something like that. And if you actually know how to coach a game, if you have a good offense, and particularly a good rushing game, you should always be going for that in the first half. And there's maybe half a dozen coaches in the league that have the balls to ignore the stupidity of the media and actually go for it. So I was happy that Harbaugh went for it. I guess both teams are Harbaugh. I was happy that John Harbaugh on Baltimore, called going for it there. I was happy that it paid off, and I think that they really started to pull away with the momentum of the game right there.
Yeah, Jim, what a letdown.
Jim hasn't really been that good since the 49ers, has he?
Chargers are way better now than they were last year.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's been bad. That's fair. But I don't think he's ever like reached the highs that he had when he had and then dumbly sacked Alex Smith.
No, I think he got to the 2 or 3 championships and 1 Super Bowl when he was with the Niners.
Yeah, I think that was.
It was the
You're right.
Kaepernick era.
Well, you're right. He did get to a Super Bowl with Kaepernick. But I think most of his success there was under Alex Smith, and then he's kind of been chasing those highs since. John Harbaugh, on the other hand, what a fixture in Baltimore.
All right, that was a super long recap. Let's move
That's what we
on.
do these days.
Let's move on to week 13.
And then, wait. I'm not letting you off that prop bet. Tell everybody what you thought would happen last week.
We already talked about it when we went over the Browns game.
All right. Tell everyone what I thought last week.
You thought between all the morning games, there were going to be 3 that were decided by more than 25?
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't true of any of them.
No, although we had a couple of 20s and 23s. Wasn't too far off.
Yeah, but you needed 3 of those.
Yeah, well, we haven't been doing so good on the props this season, have we?
I don't know, one of those 10 sack weeks, they had like 8 sacks in Denver. That was pretty close.
No, oh my God, you keep exaggerating more and more every week. They had 5.
No, there was 2 weeks, 2 different weeks. There were a few apart where I said they'd get 10. One of them they had like 5. One of them they had 7 or 8.
One of them had 5. One of them had 3, I think.
All right, let's see. We move on to week 13. First up, we've got the Thanksgiving games on Thursday. First up in the morning, we've got the Bears at home, going to the Lions at home in the super duper morning slot. What you think about that, son?
I mean, one of those teams is the Lions. It's really, really hard to pick against them. Chicago certainly, has shown the potential to surprise us this season. Detroit's just too good. I think they're going to want this game badly. I don't know whether it's going to be close or not, but I do think Detroit's got this.
Yeah, of course I agree. You gotta at least give me some hope to bet against a top dog like this, but the Bears' magic seems to be spent.
How's this for a prop bet? Dan Campbell will return with another touchdown on Thanksgiving Day in 2024.
As a tight end?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Just going to put himself in there. Like, the Lions are so good they could even make that happen.
Well, he's got to sign himself first. Then he's got to get on the depth chart, get on the practice squad, then get activated. He's got a long road ahead if he's going to make it to Thursday.
Yeah, and he's definitely going to have like a good salary since he's an NFL veteran. Like, I think his minimum salary is going to be like $900K.
Yeah, it is something like that, 800 or 900.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we've got the Giants at home against the Cowboys in the afternoon game. And if this was like a week or two ago, I actually would have just given this to the Giants. Even though the Cowboys beat them the first time, not by much. But now that they no longer have Daniel Jones, and I honestly believe he's probably a little better than what people think. This new guy I don't think is going to do shit.
Yeah, what's up with them shipping him off at a time like now?
He asked to be released, if I'm not mistaken.
He was kind of implying he might not play if they don't release him, or
it was like the same day he got made from the number 1 to the number 3 quarterback on the depth chart. I think he just wanted to be released, so they released him the same day.
Understandably, he's never been great in his career, but he's also always been on the Giants. So you could look at some other quarterbacks. They get off a bad team, and all of a sudden, they start showing that they were good all along. They just needed to be released from the shackles.
Yep, maybe he'll pull a Baker Mayfield in a few years from now. Who knows?
Exactly. Doesn't get worse than the Browns.
Yeah.
Man, you guys are so lucky that when you're in the national spotlight this hard that you get to play the Giants. Because, you play any other NFC East team. Look, you did just beat the Redskins, but they didn't want to win. Or pretty much any other team in the league. And you guys might get pretty embarrassed here.
I think there's probably 1 or 2 other teams we could beat.
Yeah, okay, you could beat Cleveland.
I think we could beat the Raiders, maybe.
I don't know that you could beat Carolina anymore.
But
yeah, you could probably beat the Raiders. I'm taking the Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm also taking the Cowboys. Although, right now, I feel like they're a team that could choke on a piece of watermelon. So I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants ended up scoring a shitload in the second half.
You overestimate them. A watermelon is solid. I think they choked on their own Gatorade this week.
Okay, you have to chop that up somehow.
Yeah.
All right, next up, why don't you tell me about if this next one's going to be a shootout or not? It should be fun. It's
going to be a great game. I don't know about shootout. It might be. Miami's defense is surprisingly good. Obviously, Green Bay's offense, pretty stellar. Miami on the right day, good offense. This is a really, really good look. You essentially have 2 of the most efficient passing offenses in the league, supported by good running games. You have 2 teams whose defense and special teams tend not to let them down. Neither team has a severe weakness right now, in my mind. What do you think?
I do think the Dolphins have a sneaky good defense. I
Yeah.
don't really know what to make of the Packers defense. I mean, it must be at least like a 5 out of 10 or something, right? But yeah, I mean, this should be fireworks, honestly. I mean, it's kind of the only way the teams kind of express themselves. This isn't
The
like the
wo-
Steelers.
the one thing making me lean in favor of the Packers here is not only are they playing at home, but they're playing at home in 28-degree weather this coming Thursday.
Is that
And
really
Miami,
true?
yes, at least according to my local news. Yeah,
I
Miami has not shown that they are good in cold weather. Obviously, we've seen a few epic collapses in December in the last few years. We saw what happened in the playoff game in Kansas City, even though that was one of the coldest games ever on record.
well, this
Um,
is November, so do they have a chance?
it is November, but it's kind of December-ish weather, right? It's 28 degrees. I don't know whether it's going to be snowing or not. I don't feel comfortable about picking Miami in such circumstances. I think they've certainly got a shot. They're a very good team, but so is Green Bay. I'm taking Green Bay in this one, and I really hope I'm wrong.
You hope you're wrong, but you're picking the Packers.
I hope I'm wrong, but I'm picking the Packers. I'm going for cheese this Thanksgiving.
Well, you know what? My fantasy
But,
thing keeps telling me that the Dolphins defense put up some of the least amount of points to the quarterback position.
mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to go with the Dolphins. Like
Okay.
that one week you picked the Cowboys and I picked against them and they won, though.
Hey, man, nothing would make me happier for that to happen.
So I'm going to go with the
Except
Dolphins.
maybe for Aaron Rodgers to have his head smashed in, by Vince Wilfork.
That's pretty graphic, man. How about a Dominican
Yeah.
Sue?
In Dominican Sue's foot? Sure.
Vince Wilfork's probably 300 extra pounds.
What's your favorite type of cheese?
I guess Swiss or provolone.
Oh, those are good picks, man. Yeah, mozzarella is my favorite, but Swiss is number two.
It's all the stuff you can put on a pizza, you know?
Absolutely, man. You should never put it on a pizza or anything else. Pepper jack.
Yeah, that's the one with the bits of shit in it. I don't like that.
Yeah, like bits of like hot peppers. Like I don't mind some spice, but like don't put that shit in savory cheese.
All right, next up on the old Black Friday special, we've got the Raiders playing against the Chiefs at home in a
Is this the game on
divisional.
Amazon?
Yes, it is on Amazon.
Alright.
I actually think this is going to be. I think these Raiders, they tend to play these divisional games pretty close. I actually think this will be a pretty close game, and if the Chiefs have to struggle that hard against the Panthers, who the hell knows? The Raiders might actually get the upset.
Oh, you want to pick it?
No, I keep telling.
Yeah, I think just
I'll pick against the Chiefs if they're ever playing a decent team, but the Raiders are too
I
shitty.
think just the fact that the Raiders are in this game means it's okay to call this the Black Friday discount game.
Let's be honest. I'd have like another 5 games over you if I didn't pick against the Chiefs every time I could.
I feel you, man. I think the Chargers were screwing me up every game at the beginning. I've gotten better with picking them at the right times. But anyway, yeah, like the Raiders are just a discount football franchise right now. I will not be picking them against anybody except maybe the Browns. Kansas City all the way in this one.
Next up, we've got the Chargers playing against my boy Kirk at home in Atlanta, and this one should be a pretty close game. But that Chargers defense is stank nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Atlanta's looked like a much weaker team lately than they have in the first half of the season.
Yeah, they've played really bad against the better defenses.
They're absolutely on a downtrend. I know that we don't know that much about the Chargers. But again, like look at what they just did against the Ravens, who are, probably one of the 2 best offenses in the league. At worst, number 3. And they still hung with them for most of the game. I think it's foolish to take anyone but the Chargers here.
I don't know if Dobbins is going to play in this game.
Yeah.
He looked like he wanted to get back in at the end of the game, though.
Yeah, and the Chargers have more weapons, even if he's playing at half speed or can't play for some reason.
This is tough.
Ooh, I know how much you like Kirk. They are playing at home. Do you want to take the upset?
I feel like I've gotten burned picking Kirk like 2 or 3 times already.
Always pick Picard. He has pick in his name.
Nah, I'm going to pick the Chargers. I saw how hard the Broncos boned the Falcons.
They're about to dilithium crystal
Eh,
the hell out of Kirk here.
Kirk's had a lot of good games, but every time he plays one of these top 5 defenses,
They're about to send Kirk to
he's
planet
gotten
Genesis.
annihilated. So yeah, I'm going to pick the Chargers. All right, next up we've got the Steelers going to Cincinnati to play the Bengals. And this one should also be pretty interesting. I know we always make fun of the Bengals defense, but they're absolutely
The
loaded
Bengals have
for
looked a
bear on the
little bit better
offense.
recently. Yeah, the Bengals have looked better recently. Pittsburgh, aside from their ugly loss to the Browns, have looked like a really good team. As bad as that made them look, it was a fluke. Cincinnati's still a good team. Pittsburgh's playing away. I think that they tend to play better at home. This, to me, is very close to a toss-up. What do you think?
I do think it'll be close just because the Bengals offense is just absolutely incredible. No matter how good the Steelers defense plays, I think Joe Burrow is going to put up some serious shit. But I'm going to go with the Steelers. Just because they find a way.
Yeah, the Steelers, I think that they do have the type of defense that might be able to actually stop the explosiveness of Cincinnati's offense. Just kind of hit them really hard. Take away their deep threats. Yeah, honestly, Pittsburgh teams under this coach have just always been good at that. I'm going to go with the Steelers as well, as tempted as I am to pick the Bengals, who are, respectable now.
All right, now walk us through this next one because I know how much you want to tell us these Jaguars are going to beat the Texans. Let's go.
What can I say, man? I've believed in the Jaguars for so long. And once in a while they reward me, but it doesn't happen very much. They're just not a very good team right now. They're trying.
I thought they were sneaky good. What happened?
Well, I guess they fell back down to earth. I don't know.
Sneaky bad. Yeah.
Sneaky bad. They only snuck up on me. Houston also playing pretty badly. They have not dominated a team in a very long time.
Yes, but teams have floors and ceilings, and
yeah,
space
their floor is mediocrity. They're not going to be awful. They almost lost to the Colts twice, I think. They, they just lost to the Titans, who tend to only beat teams that you don't think they're going to beat.
One team's awful is another team's wet dream,
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, again, Jacksonville has occasionally played really well on one side of the ball or the other, and occasionally it's even been enough. What are they now, though? 3-8?
2-9.
3-9, yeah.
2-9.
Oh, 2-9. Ouch. I thought they had won 3 games. I probably picked them more than 3 times.
The Jaguars are the worst.
Hard to see Houston losing this one, but I'm not going to be surprised if they win on a last-second field goal or something.
So you're picking the Texans?
Yeah, I'm picking the Texans. And I don't feel great about it, honestly.
Me too. Next up, we've got the Cardinals playing the Vikings at home. And this one actually could be a much closer game. Kind of depends on just what the Cardinals feel like putting out. Could be a really close game, or it could just be a bullshit game. It's hard to say.
How do you think they decide whether they're going to be good or bad that day? What are they doing in the locker room?
I really don't know. The Cardinals and the Chargers are like an enigma. Cardinals are more of an enigma.
Oh yeah, the Cardinals are just like they are coin flip Mickey if you want a deep pull from League of Legends. I don't think you wanted a deep pull from League of Legends. I'm taking the Cardinals.
Oh,
I really believe that Minnesota is sliding that hard.
okay. Well, since you finally picked something interesting, I'll take the Vikings just to be the contrarian.
All right.
I think they're sliding, but I think the defense is still like a top 3 or 4 or 5 unit, so
If
that's
I had to take
enough.
a guess, if I had to take a guess, the Vikings might be slight favorites in this one.
Duh.
Just because they have more wins, just because they're playing at home. I'd be surprised if the books would have Arizona as the favorite, but I believe in them more than I believe in the Vikings right now.
All right. All right, next up, we've got the 5-7 Colts going to see the Patriots at home, who are 3-9. That's one more win than Jacksonville.
Have to rub it in, don't you, Chrissy?
I think this actually will be kind of a closer game. I've had my eye on this Drake May character. I think he's actually leveling up, man. Not much, mind you, but there's optimism, you know.
Anytime I watch him, I'm not that confident, honestly. I know a lot of people say he's pretty decent. I haven't seen it, but I'm willing to be proven wrong.
Hmm.
On the other hand, New England's defense is playing with a lot of heart in most of their games.
What are you feeling, man?
I'm feeling the Colts in this one. I know they've had a little bit of a rough stretch, but hell, so has New England. I don't believe in May quite as much as you do, and
Don't
yeah,
believe in him that much.
Even though it's New England at home, presumably in the bitter cold, um, I still think the Colts are a little bit of a better team. I think their passing game is stronger right now. Um, their defense is no better than New England's is, but I just think they're going to get it done. Are you going to take New England?
Well, this certainly isn't the Bucks and the Giants level of buffoonery, but yeah, I think I'm going to take the Patriots. I think their defense will do enough. I think the offense will do enough. I don't think the Colts are really great in any way. They're just mediocre in all things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You've got New England.
yep, I'm going to take the Patriots.
All right, good, good. We can settle the score even more this week.
Okay, next up, we've got the Seahawks traveling to New York against the Jets.
Uh
uh,
huh. Now you always say you want to take the Jets against any team that's not great, right?
you're right, and that's usually what I'd say about the Falcons, too.
So tell me why you want to take the Jets in this one.
I mean, I don't think the Seahawks are. Listen, I know the
Yeah.
Jets suck, and if they're playing
Mhm.
against like an objectively good team, I'm not going to pick the Jets. But I think the Seahawks are like not quite out of their weight class, to be honest. I think they could punch. Their ability to punch up, I think, is close enough to the Jets level or the Seahawks level. I don't think the Seahawks are some runaway, gangster group over there.
Man, I never thought that a Seahawk would be flying higher in the sky than a jet would. But honestly, this season it's very clear that they will be and that they have been. The Jets are just an awful team. I think they're just completely demoralized by the fact that they were so confident everything would work and it clearly hasn't. They have coaches that just don't have the answers. They have a quarterback that doesn't have the answers. Their defense, who had been fairly good, um, just honestly can't contend with as many 3-and-outs as Aaron Rodgers and the crappy has been Green Bay wide receivers
All right, all right, all right. Let me set the record
they have no
straight.
passing game. They suck.
Let me set the record straight, bro, because
Yeah,
I've watched most of these games.
yeah. I've
First
watched a bunch
off,
of them too.
like 5 or 6 of their games have all
Mhm.
been within like one possession. They've only been blown out twice. They have an awful record, They don't really have an awful team.
They deserve that record.
They've had a lot of close games. They could
Most of them
easily be
haven't been games at
4 or 5
which
more
they.
wins.
Most of them were not games at which they were ahead at any point in the fourth quarter.
That might be true. They might have been trailing in most, if not all, of their games. It's true. That doesn't take away from the fact that almost all of their games have been within one possession. Like 2 of them were really bad. I'll give you that.
Yeah. I mean, and in fairness, a lot of NFL games have been within one possession this year. Whether they were actual close games or garbage time. I think the Jets are kind of somewhere in the middle of that. It's not like they're getting blown out. There was one game where they were getting absolutely blown out and then put 2 or 3 touchdowns up in garbage time. But for the most part, it hasn't been that. It's just them getting kind of thoroughly outplayed on offense. And, not doing enough to ever win those games. I think that continues here. I'm taking the Seahawks.
If you look at it, the rest of the Jets' schedule, including this game, is pretty good for them. But they managed to lose last week when they probably should have won that too.
Yeah, again, the over-unders were either, depending on which book you went to, 9.5 or 10.5 wins for this season.
They can still do it.
I made a bet with my friend for the 9.5, and they could still do that if they win every game, or they could lose this one, and my friend will be PayPaling me in week 13 out of 18 on a season win total.
I'm gonna pick the Jets at least one more time, but only because the Seahawks are not some crazily accomplished team this season.
Man, you are like a slug that keeps going back to the Salt Lick.
Well, there's reasons, man. This isn't some one-sided game, That they're both bad teams. One of them's worse, yes, but the Seahawks ain't God. Geno Smith ain't no Russell Wilson over there. Fuck.
Man, you could put Deshaun Watson on the Seahawks and they still might beat the Jets.
Oh, get the fuck out of here with that. That guy sucks dick, man. Come on, man. Deshaun Watson, man. Couldn't even put up 200 yards. You think he'd beat the Jets? Come on, dude.
I mean, when was the last time Aaron Rodgers put up 200 yards?
I'm sure he's had multiple 200-yard games.
He's probably done it a few times this season, with his 3 picks.
All right, next up, we've got the Titans playing the Redskins at home.
Mm-hmm.
And the Redskins are really in a spiral right now. I think they've lost 2, maybe 3 in a row now that they managed to.
I think it's 2. I think before that might have been the Hail Mary.
Maybe 3, I don't know.
Not sure. It might be. But, yeah, I mean, they've definitely looked competitive in all their games that they've lost.
But even with all that being said, this has to be the bounce back game. I don't care if the Titans just beat the Texans. Texans are also in a death spiral. So these Titans ain't no giant slayers. I gotta pick the Redskins, man.
Yeah, the Commanders' offense is still working on most of its cylinders. Tennessee has shown the ability to beat teams you don't think they can beat. But I don't think that the Commanders are such has-beens that they're going to let this one drop. Taking Washington.
All right, next up, we've got the Bucks going to play the Panthers at home. You picking the Bucks? Are you picking the Panthers for this one,
With
right?
as many dumbass picks as you've taken already, like the the Patriots. I mean, you basically took the entire AFC East so far. What were you thinking?
Bro, if I wouldn't pick anything if I didn't pick the stuff I picked. We always pick
much generosity as you've shown me, I'm tempted to take the Panthers here, just because they've actually shown to be a little bit better than anybody thought. But
do it. The Bucks lost last week.
Tampa Bay did end their slide last week, and showed that even when they're hurting, they can do a lot of things well. Their offense is still rolling. Carolina, I still think could surprise everybody. If I see good enough odds on the sports book, I am going to take them to win outright. But at the 50-50 straight up pick 'em, I do have to take Tampa Bay here. How about you? You're taking Tampa Bay, right?
Of course. I had the brains to take them last week. All right, next up,
You're such a Baker fan.
Well, I've seen all of his losses, and they were really good, honestly. And when your losses look really good, I
I
think
hear
the
you.
team's way more reflective, way better than their record would indicate. I
He's a
wouldn't
good
say.
quarterback, and I always said he was better than anybody was making him look. And Tampa Bay has finally made him look, I think, as good as he is.
All right, the Colts and the Patriots are the official shit bowl 13. Forgot to
The
mention.
Saints. Oh no, sorry, the Colts and the Patriots. Yes.
Yes. Next up, we've got the Rams and the Saints, which are almost as many losses at home in New Orleans. And I think this one will actually be pretty close. This is hard to say. The Saints are starting to wake up again after Derek Carr came back, which I guess makes sense.
Yeah, and the Rams are, team with a lot of potential, but is playing thoroughly mediocre football.
How are you feeling this one?
Everything in my instinct says this is probably the Rams. I know that the Saints have been looking better, um, but that they're really inconsistent with when they turn it on. The Rams are kind of consistently okay. They'll play parts of games well and parts of games poorly. Um, I'm looking at this like maybe the storylines go the Saints' way. I just think the Rams have too much talent to not have a good chance to win this. I'm going to take LA. I'm not feeling great about it. How about you?
I'm gonna stick with the Saints, man. I'm gonna say they
Oh,
get that second or third win in a row somehow.
oh, Christy really wants us to be tied up going into week 14 of Pick'em.
I mean, I don't think it's like some one-sided matchup, dog.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I'm just surprised that we're picking so many of these differently. What do you
Yeah.
love about the Saints right now, besides Kamara?
Well, I like how much they used Taysom Hill in their last game. That was pretty crazy. And I think if they can get them both involved, I think they'll be pretty vicious. And the Saints' defense isn't completely laughable. And now that Derek Carr's, played a few games back, I think he's good
Uh,
enough. I don't really think either of these teams is overly favored, to be honest.
Yeah, I hear you. I do think this is like maybe like a 60-40 matchup at best for the Rams. But I just feel like they have too much talent to let this one go.
Yep, that might be the case.
All right, next up is the game of the week.
Yep, this one should be pretty exciting. We got the Eagles traveling to Baltimore against the Ravens. Should be pretty crazy. Yeah.
You would hope so. Like these are two teams that I would say Baltimore has a superb offense and an okay defense, and Philadelphia has the potential to be a superb offense if they're on an on day, and an okay and a pretty good defense, honestly. Um, Philadelphia often gets sloppy, and I think that Baltimore is the type of team that's going to punish them really well for that. As much as their defense can't stop everyone, they can be opportunistic, and put the ball in Lamar's hands at the end of the game. I always almost forget his name for whatever reason.
Derrick
But yeah,
Henry?
what?
Derrick Henry?
No, Lamar. Lamar. I always just for whatever
Oh,
reason it takes me a second or two to like conjure up his name. Put the ball in Lamar's hands at the end of any game, and I believe that he's going to get it done unless he's playing an incredibly good defense. I think that the Browns did actually stop them once this season.
them and three other people.
Um, yeah. It was just I think the Browns were like the most notable because it happened on a Lamar drive at the end of the game. Either way, though, I think in general, put the ball in Lamar's hands at the end, and I think the game could come down to that, and he will get it done. I believe Baltimore's got this, despite Saquon Barkley being an absolute wood chipper last week. I'm taking the Ravens.
Well, Derrick Henry also got like 130 yards last week, too.
Oh yeah. Every single part of that team is working right now. I mean, Justice Hill probably had a ton of yards as well.
Yeah, like 50,
Because
60 something.
I think Hill had like one run for like 55 yards.
Yeah.
In addition to his other work. Every single part of that team is just running on all cylinders. Philadelphia is really good. Like if they play to their potential, they could absolutely beat Baltimore. I just don't think they're going to. I think they're going to get intimidated by Baltimore's opportunism and just like ability to just score almost every time. So I'm taking Baltimore. What do you think, man?
I'm going to go with the hotter hand, and that's the Eagles.
Ooh, you think
I'm
the
going to.
Eagles are the hotter hand than Baltimore?
I mean, right now they're undisputably the hotter hand just because the Ravens have lost 2 of their last 3.
Okay,
Uh,
I mean that's fair.
they say the Ravens have like the worst pass defense in the league, so that ain't great. The Eagles' defense is kind of like 5 out of 10 ish too, though.
Yeah, um, yeah, and I think that often like the stats can lie a little bit when one team is putting up that many points. They're willing to get more aggressive and maybe give up more big plays.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna chance it. I'm gonna go with the Eagles. I don't think
All
it's
right,
a
man.
very dangerous pick, honestly. I think
Yeah, I
Saquon will
mean,
keep the
it's a
go
very good team.
rolling.
I'm never gonna pick on somebody for for taking the Eagles as they are right now against any team.
I think they'll both put
It's
up
a
a
very
lot of
fair pick.
points.
Yeah, I'm just I'm really a fan of what Baltimore is doing.
All right. Next up, we've got the 49ers going to Buffalo. And another kind of fun game. Purdy should be back in this game.
Yeah, Purdy plus CMC. And you think that this has got to be a San Francisco team that's gonna play better than they have in a while. On the other hand, you have Buffalo, who's had a lot of easy games, but has looked really good in pretty much all but one of them. Um, San Francisco really could make a statement. They're the team to beat in the NFC West if they pull this one out and LA looks bad. I think that's a big if. I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills. I see no reason that they're going to fold here, even to a better San Francisco offense. Um, there's just too many parts of that team that can't be stopped. Also, it's being played in Buffalo. San Francisco is going to have to travel for that. They're probably not used to playing in the bitter cold. Buffalo, by the time you get to October, is basically always the bitter cold. I like Buffalo a lot here.
Yep, I'm going to take Buffalo too.
Finally, we agree on a game.
All right, didn't you pick the Panthers?
The Carolina Panthers? No.
All right, and then last up on Monday Night Football, we have the Browns going up against the Broncos at home. How you feeling about this one after that Browns win, man?
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, the Browns still look like a defeated team, and on the other hand, yeah, like they really showed up last week against the Steelers. They're also going to have a nice long, I think, 11-day practice week. They can really look at how to beat the Broncos. The other side of the coin is they're kind of in contention for a high draft pick. They're going to need a high draft pick because let's be honest, they don't have the money to get a good free agent in. They paid that all to frickin' Deshaun Watson. And so if you're at the head of the organization and you're not worried about, oh, I'm going to get fired if we lose a lot of games, you might be looking at not wanting to win this game. Yeah, they just beat the Steelers, but that's like a division rivalry. You have your pride there. Is Cleveland going to be trying that hard in this game? Maybe, maybe not.
I think they're
And
still
to the other
trying.
side, Denver is a good team that keeps getting better. They're playing at home. That they have a lot to play for here. It's against a sometimes surprising Cleveland team that's had a lot of rest. I don't really know what Denver's injury situation is. It's not too bad, right?
Denver? I don't
Yeah.
know if any of their players are hurt that are important.
Yeah, I
Everyone's
don't
got
think
hurt
they're.
players, though.
Yeah, of course, of course. There's going to be role players and linemen injured everywhere, but I don't know of any of their stars that are really hurting.
Can you name their stars?
Oh, Knicks.
Yep.
um, uh, Judy, is Judy still there?
He's a Brown.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah. No, I can't name too many Denver players offhand. If you told me
Okay.
them, I would be like, oh yeah.
Think there's like Cortland Sutton and like Javante
Yeah.
Williams.
Williams was supposed to be really good, but he never like quite panned out like people thought he was going to. Anyway, I just between the fact that I don't know that Cleveland is playing for anything at this point, and the fact that Denver's been getting better and better, I think Denver's just a smart pick in this. What do you think?
I gotta pick the Broncos. I have their defense, and that defense has been putting up 30 points a game every game for like 10 months.
You think they're gonna do it against your boy Jameis?
Yeah, I think they'll probably shut his ass down. Yeah, even though
No more snow angels for Jameis.
he's been balling though, man. It's crazy how many he hasn't been making a lot of points, but he's been getting a shitload of yards for whatever that's worth.
It's crazy what happens when you have a fairly decently talented offense, and you take off the worst quarterback in football and you put in a replacement level quarterback.
All right, time for the prop bets. What do you got? Let's hear the goofy shit.
All right, this week, for whatever reason, I am feeling Chuba. I'm feeling Chuba. I think he's going to have a surprisingly good game against Tampa Bay's D. I'm sure that Tampa Bay, even though they tend to be a passing offense, will have a game script where at times they can run the ball against Carolina. And so I've got 300 plus yards combined rushing in the Buccaneers and Panthers game.
Well, that's not actually that difficult.
Yeah, with Tampa Bay and Carolina.
I mean, you add two teams together, that's not really very much for two.
I seriously bet you they have not combined for 300 this season.
Yeah, but for like two teams that you each get like 150-ish, like with the quarterbacks with like a running back committee, that's not really that
100 the
much.
Carolina Panthers. Okay, fine. You want 350 yards?
Maybe 400, and then I'll give it to you.
Oh my god. All right, come up with your own prop. I'll come up with another one if. You know what? I don't need your approval. 300 plus yards.
350. 350.
What's your prop?
I'm gonna go something much more controversial and harder than that. I'm gonna say, against all odds.
Is Denver going to get 10 sacks again?
Nah, well, nah, Jameis is too good. Too good in the pocket, man.
He can actually throw the ball away, unlike some Cleveland quarterbacks.
Against all odds,
Uh-huh.
Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley will combine for less than 100 rushing yards.
Okay.
How crazy is that?
That's not as crazy as mine, but, it's
What?
reasonable.
Yours is too easy. Mine's like almost impossible.
Saquon gets injured like 4 times a season, and Derrick Henry could just lose his carries to one of the other like 3 great Baltimore running backs.
I don't know, man. I think it's almost unthinkable that one of them.
But you know what I like about yours? It's possible. That's the point of the prop bet. It's supposed to be spicy but possible.
All right. Does that do it?
I believe it does. We have 6 contested picks this week. We'll go over the record from last week and make sure that we got it straight. And I guess update you next week if we were wrong about something. But in any case, looking forward to what do we have? 5 days of football this week: Thursday, Friday. Just 4 days, but 3 games on Thanksgiving is cool. Obviously looking forward to Philly and Baltimore. What else are you looking forward to this week?
I guess hanging with my family.
That's always nice, yeah. As long as you like your family.
Yeah, that is a plus. I'm pretty close with my family, so
Yeah, we're gonna be. I'm gonna be seeing my sister and her in-laws, who I don't get to see very often. So looking forward to that. And I guess we'll watch either the Dolphins lose or me lose the pick'em on Thursday night.
yeah, I
So
think
either way, I can be depressed.
this is the longest video we've ever done somehow. Well, for football anyway. We're doing some
We like
3-hour league videos.
we like to call this scope creep.
Yeah, we really got to cut down on this next time. All right, that does it for week 13. We'll see you guys next time.
Y'all have a good one.